Hello, my name is Suzanne Sterling. I'm talking about the voice and how to care for the voice and how to expand the voice. And one of the most important things we can do for the voice is to warm it up and to cool it down. These are two really important, crucial pieces. I have been a professional singer for many, many years. Before I ever sang a note, I had completely damaged my vocal cords. And so I had to learn how to work with them in a very different way. And I had to learn to be very disciplined about warming up my voice before speaking or singing for long periods of time or trying to find power. And I also had to learn how to care for my voice and be very gentle with it after using it. Most people, when they're trying to get volume or power or project their voices, are forcing air past the vocal cords. The vocal cords, which sit right behind the trachea, are very, very sensitive tissue. They're very sensitive muscles. And they work well with a little bit of stability or structure, a little bit of tension, and a lot of flexibility. So the more we take the work out of the vocal cords down into the core, diaphragmatic abdominals, the more freedom and flexibility the vocal cords can have. But what they're doing is they're opening and closing 440 times a second to make an A tone. That means they're working hard. They need to be able to move fast. And if we don't warm them up, they're kind of awkward and clunky at first. And in fact, you might notice that if you start singing about 2 or 3 minutes into the singing, you'll go through what's called the phlegm phase. And you definitely don't want to do that when you're speaking or singing on stage. But what most people do is they try and force air past the vocal cords like this, ah, to get power. When in fact what you want to do is hold the sound in the body and allow it to expand and allow the vocal cords to relax. Ah, it's a very different experience qualitatively. It's a very different experience for the maker of the sound and also for the listener of the sound. So you want to actually allow the sound to live in the body, expand in the body, and then it moves out into the world on its own. You don't have to force it. You don't have to push it. You can get power as opposed to force. Now, as you've used your voice fully and completely, what happens is those muscles, when they're used, like any other muscle, will swell up if they're used or overused. And that's what happens when we have used our voice and the next day we wake up and the voice is groggy or it's scratchy, or sometimes we even have lost our voice. One thing you can do to prevent that is to cool the voice down after using it. So just as you wouldn't run a marathon and then just stop and lay down because the lactic acid would go into your muscles and it would be sore the next day, the same thing with the voice. You actually want to cool those muscles down by using them very, very gently. So if you run a marathon, you walk for 5, 10, 15 minutes. If you sing, what you want to do is hum for 5, 10, or 15 minutes. And what this does is it gently allows the vocal cords to relax, to not swell up, and to find their way back to normalization. So the cool down is just simply very gently humming. Drinking lots of water and rest is also crucial. The warm up is a little more extensive. We've talked about that in the other pieces, but the cool down is simply humming. You can do it on your back. You can do it while you're driving. You can do it at any point. So good luck with your voice. Make sure to warm it up and to cool it down. Namaste and blessed be.